Hi everyone, I am Jen Pike, the founder of the Simplicity Project and the creator of Simplicity TV, the place to be to learn more tips and inspirations all about creating more simplicity and more ease. And that is what we are doing this summer for you. This is our Simplicity Summer Series with some quick shifts in the way that we approach our life, that we think about different things that we use and do. And today's topic is one that I personally have struggled with, I believe, since the beginning of time. My parents always said, Jen, you literally walked your way out of the womb into this world, on a mission, wanting to create, be, and do all that you could. And while that has been fantastic and I have had an incredible life, it has sometimes come at the expense of my mental clarity, sanity, health, and an inability at times to learn how to pull back and to say no. I talk about this a lot, especially in the last, I'd probably say, 5 to 7 years, this became more and more prevalent in my own life. I've always been a yes person, yes to new projects, yes to new ideas, yes to people, yes to helping. And I love doing all of those things, but I was really neglecting myself. I wasn't saying yes to me. And so my typical pattern used to be not look ahead at the calendar, not really know what I was saying yes to, just leap and learn, launch and learn, just say yes now, figure it all out all later. And I still live my life that way in many areas, but with a totally different undertone. I used to say yes and go at this unstoppable pace until I couldn't choose not to stop. I would get sick, I would lose my voice, I would just, sit down on the couch and cry and be like, I have too much to do, I don't have time, how am I gonna figure this all out? And it was through going through this X amount of times and every single time being in that position and realizing, man, how did I get myself back here? I said last time when I felt like this, I wasn't gonna say yes so much. And then in the beginning, I did good with that and I didn't say yes, but then as time went on and I started to feel better and I had my energy back, I would start to be like, no problem, I can continue to say yes. A couple months would go by, I'd find myself feeling crappy again and having the same conversation. And I would say, Jen, why are you doing this again? And I did this for years. And it wasn't until I had this real, true, deep aha moment. I got pneumonia for the first time in my life in my 30s when I was running my yoga studio. I was teaching my first teacher training program solo on my own. I had 26 staff under me. I had a 4 and a 6-year-old at the time, trying to run the house. We had just gotten a puppy and I was like, I've got it. I can manage this. I can do this. This is my passion, my purpose. I'm supposed to be able to take this all on. And I started to not feel well. I had to push through because I had other people that I had said yes to that were counting on me. And God forbid I let those people down. Not to mention that I was letting myself down, but I didn't want to let other people down. And I kept pushing and I kept going. And I remember I woke up one morning and I went into the studio to go and teach a class and I got 10 minutes through it and I just looked at all the ladies staring back at me and I was like tears down my face and I was just like, I'm really sorry, I gotta go home. I feel like I'm in a fishbowl right now. I'm having that thing where I can hear myself talking outside. I'm not connected to my body. I really don't feel well. I need to honor this. And I proceeded to lie on the couch for 4 days with a fever, crying, and kind of having a mental breakdown. And my kids were like, taking care of me. My husband was just like, I don't even know what to do. You're always the one that's managing this. And it was in that moment and talking to some very good friends and some family that I realized I had to create that shift. And so it's been a process of learning. And where I'm at now, all these years later, is that I still commit to a lot of things. But when I say yes now, it has to light me up. It can't just be saying yes out of obligation. It can't just be saying yes because I'm afraid of what other people are gonna think of me, because this is what happens often. These are the conversations I'm having with my private clients, with the women I'm working with. They think it's just about nutrition and exercise, and we start to get to the mental, emotional parts of it, where the real stress is showing up in their life. And they will say to me, I feel like if I don't say yes, my family's gonna be angry at me, that I'm gonna be perceived at being selfish. My friends won't talk to me anymore. My coworkers will talk poorly about me behind my back, that I'll be letting people down, not recognizing how much they're letting themselves down. So I had to be really honest with myself, and in doing this, I've been able to help my clients do the same thing. What are the things that I really love? More importantly, what are the things that I freaking hate doing. The things where I start to do it and I'm like, why did I say yes to this? I don't have the energy for this. I don't have time for this. And I will tell you, I'm getting better at it, but I am still by no means perfecting this. I still find myself sometimes going, why did I say yes to that? I don't have time for it. I really don't love it. There's somebody else who could do a much better job at that. And I've realized that I'm also teaching my kids what to say no and what to say yes to. And so I talk to the women that I work with a lot about this. And so I'm going to give you a couple of steps on what I have done to try and make this easier for me. The first thing is coming to that place of intuition, to really listening to my soul's voice and to that spirit within, that when I am approached with something and I have a choice of saying yes or no, yes please, no thank you, does it light me up and do I get like good butterflies in my stomach? Am I like, oh my gosh, yes? Or am I like, do I all of a sudden feel myself constrict? Do I feel a tightness in my throat? Do I constrict my breath? Do I feel my stomach kind of go pause, like just don't answer right away because we're not sure about this? Or do I feel that automatically like, oh my God, no, why did I get asked to do that? If it's obviously the latter, the oh my gosh, no, I just say no thank you and I refer them to somebody else or I pass it along. I also don't try and create these huge elaborate stories or reasons or excuses why I can't do something. I'm just really honest, and sometimes it is just saying, I'm really sorry, I just already have so much going on, I just can't take anything else on. And people are usually very understanding about that. The next thing is that I now look at my whole calendar. And so before I say yes to something, I look at the calendar and say, okay, what else do I have that's going on? Is it going to be too much happening in around that time? And I really live by that calendar now. I've got it color coded. That took me like 30 years to be able to figure out to do, but I can tell you it's made a big difference. We've just come out of Running Ignite Your Life, which is my huge event, over 200 people in that room, running a course for over 90 women leading into that. I knew that those periods of months were going to be very hands-on, very busy, and I was going to have to be very involved in that. And I had no problem in doing that. But I knew coming into July and August into the summer, I had to create huge wide open spaces. And so I did just that. I said no to different social engagements. I blocked our weekends out as a family. The kids are doing less sports and activities this summer, and they're really happy about that. We're blocking out way more family time, and I just am only consulting for very short windows so that I don't burn out, that I'm not resentful to my work or the people that I'm spending time with, that I'm not resentful to myself, that I'm not, here's the worst thing, not just as a mom, as a woman, as a man, as a husband, as anybody, is when you get home to your family and they get the crappiest leftover parts of you. When they get the parts of you that have no energy, no patience, because you've just spent your whole day giving it to everything and everyone else. And I feel when that starts to happen, my husband just has to look at me a certain way now, and I'm like, I'm being that person. And I just stop and I'm like, what do I gotta shift? What do I have to change? What do I maybe have to cancel? Because it's okay to let people down. It's not okay to perpetually let yourself down. So if you have to cancel something you already said yes to, if you have to shift your schedule, if you have to take an extra sick day, if you need to think about changing your career, if you have to have one of those conversations with your children and your spouse and let them know that you're part of the family, you're not an employee of the family, those are the places you have to start with. And I didn't know where to start in the beginning. I was stuck with my foot on the gas pedal. I didn't think I had an option. I didn't think there was a choice in me starting to let go and to wind down. So I had to start to write. I just had to start to write in my journals, what would an ideal day look like? And in the beginning, I found myself writing down all the to-dos, the duties. And then as time started to go on and every day I would write these lists, I would start to see myself writing in things like, I just want to feel warm in the sun. I want to lie there and talk to nobody and do nothing. I want to read a whole book. I want to drink a whole warm drink the whole time it's warm and not have to reheat it umpteen times. I want to go for a walk, whatever it was. So maybe you're in that place right now where you feel so overwhelmed and you have no idea. You hear me say yes to say, or say no to say yes all the time, and you're like, Jen, sounds great in theory, but I have no idea how to do this. I hope some of these tips have given you that place. Just begin. Just begin. Even if tonight it means you go upstairs by yourself 30 minutes earlier than you normally do. You don't have to sleep, but you just tell everyone you're going to bed, and you close the door, and you even just lie on the floor, lie in your bed, do whatever you gotta do, but start to carve out the time so you can start to feel what that feels like. I guarantee you when you start to have moments of like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. Why haven't I done this before? That becomes contagious. And following that ripple, that little shift you're creating in your life, that feeling, that emotion that comes out of you, that is what is going to then create the next step and the next step, and then create a new pattern and a new routine, a new way of living and being in you, the most incredible person that you should be loving and showing up to every single day. I am wishing you all more simplicity and more ease in all that you do. Have a fantastic day.